Hey guys, Rob from Georgia here with you, aka VHS82 apostrophe, with another something weird, just a thought. Just saying. Episode 3, if you want to call them that. I'm not sure how these are all going to play out. It's random. So, the other night I popped in one of my favorite all-time movies from my youth, man. Of course, I'm talking about A Nightmare on Elm Street. And from 1984, Wes Craven, of course. Call it the shock fest from hell. This movie, man, I'm just going to ramble on about it for a minute. But first of all, I just thought I would take just a couple minutes. A couple things, man. I popped in, I was watching my Dawn of the Dead from Second Sight on 4K the other night. We've got this brand new 65-inch 4K TV. And so for the first time, I had a 4K TV, but, it was an old TV. So even though it was 4K, it really wasn't 4K, right? I mean, it was, but it wasn't. You know what I mean, right? So, I'm seeing some of these movies now. And I noticed something on this. When they're down in the basement level, clearing out the dead in that apartment complex early on, Peter... I noticed something about Peter I don't know if I've ever noticed before, and I pointed it out to my wife, and she always laughs as soon as I start to say something 4K related. Peter has a teardrop rolled down his eye. I don't know if I've ever seen that before in this movie. I just thought it was interesting. I also thought it was interesting, in terms of the continuing war on physical media. I was out on a movie hunt not too long ago, stopped in at Best Buy. Not that I usually do, but there's one up in the neck of the woods where I go to. And I thought, well, you never know. They usually have something on their shelf. And I go in and I'm looking all over the place. I got my boys with me and I'm just looking everywhere. And I'm like, whatever. I wasn't in the mood. So we start walking out. And some guy just happens to, hey, is there anything I can do for you? And I'm like, yeah, where are your movies at? We got rid of all of our movies. I'm like, what? Yeah, we don't have any movies anymore. And I'm like, okay. Well, I did go off on a bit of a rant with him. Nothing rude or anything like that. But I mean, people got to know people aren't going to be happy when suddenly they go in somewhere expecting to be at least a few shelves worth of something. They're all gone. But this is the continuing war on physical media, right? The powers that be, it's just like I'm thinking of the Joker from The Dark Knight. They just get to have their hands on everything and they want to control it and they don't want you to have the ability to watch things in your home the way you want to watch them, unedited, uncensored, and all that jazz. It is about power and control. I can go on that rant for a long time. But it's... Maybe it's, I was born in 70, the 80s were my decade, and I remember seeing this in the theater as a 14-year-old. And it's just, horror is just, I love it, but I love physical media. I love being able to, hold on to something, I hate doing reviews for BodyBags if I can't hold on to something, and sometimes I do. Sometimes I pulled it off a Shudder or somewhere, but, it's not fun, man. It's not fun. So anyways, there's my physical media rant for the moment. What else? Dollar Tree. I wasn't there not that long ago. And you remember back when it just seemed like every other week people were dropping their, on, vids, right? On, their Dollar Tree hauls. Some would drop, 50, 60, 75, $100. You could go in there and just actually find stuff. Lately, well, one, you haven't seen those vids drop in quite a long time, if you thought about it. I was in a Dollar Tree where I used to, pull 5, 6, 7 movies at a time sometimes. I've never got a straight answer as to why they're suddenly dry. Well, there's this kid working there, right? And he, take it for what you will, but he seemed to imply that, at least as far as he knew, they just weren't going to do horror movies anymore. Now that seemed really absurd, and to take a line or a movie line or a movie title from Joe D'Amato, that seemed really absurd. But I mean, that's the closest I've gotten to anyone even telling me why I'm not seeing any movies in Dollar Tree anymore. And look, I don't expect to go into Dollar Tree, but I have found some interesting movies in there, but not in a very, very, very long time. Um, One more thing, I think. The X-Files. Some of you may know that I've been running Space 1999 on my channel. I just did episode 43, I think. There's only 48. We'll be done. I'll be moving on. Really thinking about doing an incredible deep dive in the entirety of the X-Files, starting with pilot season 1 and working my way all the way through. What do you think about that? Any of you interested in that? Regardless, that's what I'm probably doing. Also, check out my Italy's Holocaust, right in the middle of going through the deep dive of the zombie franchise. That's been pretty good. And BodyBags, of course. And my Crazy Fives, which I got to do tonight. My Crazy Fives. This one I think I'm doing is zombies. Foreign zombie films. 5 of them. All right, anyway, so my little rant on Nightmare on Elm Street. The bottom line to all of this is, when are we going to get this thing on 4K? Next year is the 40th anniversary for this movie. Again, I remember seeing this in the movie theater, 14 years old. It was one of the great moments of my life. And I'm watching this, right? That term, it's like an upscale, or an upscale effect. You put a DVD in your 4K player and you got a 4K TV. It tends to look just a little bit better than it would if it was just in a regular player, regular TV. And so I'm watching my Infinite DVD release, 2-disc release of this awesome movie. And I don't know, man, it looked pretty good. And I'm thinking to myself, where's the 4K? Because I think a 4K, if done right by the right, whoever it may be, could look absolutely outstanding. Couple things about Nightmare on Elm Street that I was reminded by. I was kind of like going into a little bit dive, and did you know Mark Shostrom worked on the practicals, the effects crew for this? I thought that was pretty interesting. And the cinematographer actually did another one of my faves from the 80s, Galaxy of Terror, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. Just on the chance that someone listening to this has never seen A Nightmare on Elm Street. Of course, Johnny Depp's starting role, right? Young Johnny Depp. This is the first movie, man, he ever did. Of course, Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. John Saxon's in this thing, man. And of course, Heather Langenkamp, our lead girl, who's freaking awesome in this. I don't care what anyone says. But this movie, man, I remember as a kid, reading the pages of Fangoria and, just starting to learn about, how they did some of the practicals, some of the effects and stuff, and how they took the room and actually rotated it around, how they had everything nailed up on the wall and just poured buckets of blood down. Of course, flip the film around and it looks like the blood is pouring up out of the bed. You add in the score in that, and it's just, man, I was thinking when I was watching this the other night, this is really, truly one of those movies where you kind of think to yourself, dang, this is the boogeyman, man. He is really like the boogeyman. And I've always kind of like thought part 2 is this maybe the scariest one of the entire franchise. But it seems like, when I was watching this for the first time on my 65-inch TV, wondering what it would look like in 4K, I'm kind of reminded the first film is pretty scary. Obviously, you've seen it a million times. It's never going to have that same effect as it did when I was 14 in a movie theater, pitch black. Now, I did see this on the drive-in as well, which was just a few years ago, which was pretty fun. But this thing was first released on videotape, of course, Video Treasures, which is this bad boy right here. It's always fun to throw these in from time to time if you're still running the VHS player in your house. But what really looks good is my New Line Cinema release in '99 widescreen edition. And I have to say, the transfer on this thing is pretty darn good. It looks really freaking good for a VHS tape. Yeah. Really, 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 really freaking good. God, man, I'm telling you, I freaking love this movie. And I really need a better box set than the one I got here. You know, I got the Walmart cheapie, which I have to say, if you're struggling or money is an issue and you're just looking at building up your collection but doing it on the cheap, I can't think of a better way than to hit up Walmart from time to time and grab their franchises on the cheap. You got at least the first 8 films from Friday the 13th, they're on the cheap. I've picked up the Leprechaun franchise there, Puppet Master franchise there, Final Destination. Now, the only problem with some of these franchises, you know, you're not paying much money for them. And you're getting all the movies, but sometimes, like with Final Destination, they stack the discs, and it's not very... it's just... I can't... I really, really, really have to be in a mood to watch one of those movies, because I know I have to go dig down, pull all the discs out. Now, I know I could just go buy another case. I'm just lazy and I haven't done it. So anyways, that's a pretty easy way to build up your collection on the cheap. And then when you can indulge, you know, you still got that Friday box set from Screen Factory out there. I think it's hanging around the $109 mark, maybe. I haven't looked in forever, but the Arrow box for the Phantasm set is freaking outstanding. That I did buy and got from the UK. Of course, Well Go USA put out their own box set of that over here, right? So there are, you know, but even my Halloween set, I picked up not the huge, beautiful box set, but I picked it up on the cheap for about $30, I think, at Walmart. And it's actually a nice condensed set. So sometimes these things, I was really hoping Walmart would have put out a condensed version of the same like it, but with the Friday, since Screen Factory put it out. I was really hoping they would have made a deal with Walmart and actually just condensed that thing down to another beautiful slim box or something. But hasn't happened yet. But Nightmare on Elm Street. Again, I guess most of my mindset was just, well, it was just enjoying it, watching it, absolutely just getting a kick out of certain aspects of it that just, for me personally, don't get old. The aesthetics of it, I love the nightmare logic of it. You know, you have a few American movies back in the day, you know, Phantasm or whatever, but I love nightmare logic. I love when you can just start doing things that normally don't make sense. It's just awesome. You know, Lucio Fulci's The Gates of Hell trilogy is so stinking awesome. The City of the Living Dead is my favorite horror movie of all time. Easy. But, you know, the big thing is with the 40th anniversary tour, or right? The 40th anniversary next year of A Nightmare on Elm Street. How awesome would it be to finally get a beautiful 4K release of this thing? I really don't care if the whole franchise gets it. I don't care. I want the original film on 4K. I'll be happy with that. If Nightmare 3 gets a 4K, that's pretty cool too. But I want, you know, now that I think about it, Nightmare 2 is dark, is a dark palette of colors they use on that movie. I bet you that would look pretty freaking good on 4K. But I need the original film on 4K. I really do. I need it. So maybe just by putting this video out, the vibes, the ripple effect will go out, and maybe somehow something amazing will happen. And how can you not get a 4K release of this on its 40th anniversary? How can you not? I don't know. But anyways, did you guys know that on April the 28th, Return of the Jedi is getting a special reissue for, I think, if it's not one day, for the weekend? That might be worth definitely checking out. What else? Anything else to say? I don't know. But I'll say this. This definitely was the shock fest from hell in the early 80s. Probably the TV spots were insane. You know, the full trailer is pretty awesome, but the TV spots were great. I know Wes has got a commentary on the DVD releases, and um, but yeah, I'm not. I know there's Blu-ray releases out there you can get your hands on, but I'm waiting for the 4K. I just want my Nightmare on Elm Street 4K. That's all I want. That's what I want. So who knows? Maybe we'll get it next year. Maybe we'll get it next year. So anyways, I don't know what else to say. I'm just gonna kind of ramble on. If I don't just end here, something weird, just a thought. Nightmare on Elm Street. What do you think? Would you love it on 4K? Would you get it on 4K? Do you feel like me? Great memories from years ago or relatively new? Hey, give me a suggestion if you want me to just ramble on about something. Anyways, as always, we end these things off with Go Bills.
This is not a dream. Not